one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. Just gotta mean something to you. They gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2 3. 1 2 3. Finish.
I can't even think about all of the shit I did to fit in. Past hard to watch like a fucking scary movie. I'm always happy to meet somebody that never knew me. Change for the better, hope niggas are living through me. I put it all on the wax so the people can know the true me. Hard to remain sane when the people you love the most is what's causing the damn pain. Y'all beef by the same thing, we ain't playing the same game. It's all for my family. She the girl of your fucking dreams, but to me she a plain Jane. You dipper and ball man, I duck when them calls came. This that higher level thinking. I'm the type to jump the fuck off of the shit before it's sinking. Not here for no new shit. My game slider boosted. Ain't I don't have to prove shit. Rockstar fight the fool shit. My movie, this the new script. I want a life with no bullshit. Nigga, I know on these news clips. That's why I dap him and move quick. Won't be around when they move switch. Won't be around when they lose clips. Won't be around for they lose lips. Might be the reason they pull shit. Yeah.
Let me clear my throat. You come closer. Where y'all at? No, he doesn't get off the press. No, I haven't seen him get off the press yet. He does a great job when you can put him in motion, when you can get a little trick erasure going. So that's Arizona. But when you're talking about man to man, right? Where your machismo, where your chest hairs are poking out, that young man ain't got none.
They say they never really miss you till you dead or you gone. So on that note, I'm leaving after this song. So you ain't got to feel no way about Jay no more. At least let me tell you why I'm this way. What the fuck is up? Bro, I make a conscious effort not to curse to start the show. And I seemingly fail every time. And it's not on purpose. I promise you it's not on purpose. But with that being said, what is going on, people? What's up, humans? How are we doing today? How dope is the day? How dope is the fucking day? I understand people are getting ready for Thanksgiving on Thursday, I believe it is. You know, shout out to y'all. I saw somebody post like, yo, people who work, only people who work. So I was irritated by the tweet, by the start of it, even though I work. I just don't like it when people who work get mad at people who make money who don't work. You picked this lifestyle. We chose this lifestyle. It is what it is. As long as you grinding to get to where you trying to get to, where it don't feel like you working every day, you should be fine. But people get satisfied in these lifestyles, these mundane lifestyles, and they take it out on people who don't. And I don't understand that. I really don't. I really don't. But that's neither here nor there. We talking about Monday Night Football. We will recap real quickly the games that happened this week. But I wanted to start off the show a different way. And I forgot, well, not necessarily a different way. I was going to start off by talking about something. However, I forgot what it was that I wanted to talk about. And that's okay. So we're going to start the show off talking, running down the Week 11 scores in the NFL. The 49ers on Monday Night Football headed to Arizona. Kyler Murray did not play for the Cardinals. Wish I had known that going into the game. Would not have watched that game. Probably I still would have watched it. But the Cardinals lose that game at home 38-10. They got smacked. Cincinnati headed to Pittsburgh to take on the division rivals. They win 37-30 in Pittsburgh, a close game. Yo, Pittsburgh, I don't know why these motherfuckers play all these teams so close, bro. Because it's like Pittsburgh shouldn't play teams this close, right? Because you like, man, they ain't got an offense. And every time. It's not even the teams that's not in the division. They play the teams in the division close. But Pittsburgh loses that game. KC on Sunday Night Football headed to L.A. to take on the Chargers. They win that game 30-27 on a game-winning drive. Basically a game-winning drive. I understand Justin Herbert got a 30-second chance out of that. He threw an interception. But it was basically a game-winning drive by Patrick McGoat. Las Vegas headed into Denver to take on the struggling Denver Broncos. And tough to say that because the Raiders were struggling also going into this game. But somebody had to win. Unless it ended up in a tie, which it did not. The Raiders win that game 22-16. A stat that I saw the other day. If the Broncos in regulation scored 18 points, if they offense had scored 18 points in regulation, they would be 9-1 right now. Just put that in perspective of how bad the offense been and how unbelievably great the defense has been. But the Vegas won that with a walk-off in overtime. Dallas went to Minnesota and spanked Minnesota 40-3. New York Jets went into New England and they lose. This game was 3-3 till it was 8 seconds left in the fourth quarter, bro. And the Patriots get a walk-off punt. Of all things, they win that game 3-10 at home. Philly went into Indy. They win 17-16. Detroit goes into New York and they beat the Giants 31-18. 3 in a row for the Detroit Lions. Still 4-6 though. Cleveland went to Buffalo and it looked like Cleveland was going to upset Buffalo for a while, but I kept saying to myself as I was watching the score, because I didn't watch this game, I watched the score card for this one. Like I was keeping track of the score. Buffalo ends up coming back and winning that game 31-23. Washington went to Houston, they win 23-10. Carolina went to Baltimore, they lose 3-13. The Rams go to New Orleans, they lose 20-27. Chicago went to Atlanta and they lose 24-27. And that was the NFL recap for the games of the week, well, for the week 11 matchups. And so I want to start off talking about the Monday Night Football game. Jimmy G. My man had 4 touchdown passes. And listen, obviously the Cardinals are not a good team right now for a multitude of reasons. They still have D-Hop, which seems so meaningless at this point. Kyler hurt. When Kyler play, they lose. So, I mean, it's probably a better game if Kyler does play. Colt McCoy really leave a lot to be desired. I mean, he's not that guy at this stage of his career. He's never been that guy in his career. So, you know, you don't really expect much out of Kirk Cousins on a Monday Night Football game, to be completely honest with you. But to me, the problem with the Cardinals, bro, is very simple. I don't know if you can build a Super Bowl contender around Kyler Murray right now, even when he's healthy. But we'll get to that. I want to talk about Jimmy G, because this is very interesting, because, you know, you heard all the people talk about Jimmy G in the beginning of the season. Oh, he should be starting over Trey Lance because he getting a better chance of winning. And I don't think it was just because of talent. It's because Jimmy G know the system. He done been there for the last couple years. And I also don't think people would be saying that if not for the fact they made a Super Bowl run. And the defense of the San Fran is looking real good right now. Like they look like they channeling. They not necessarily the same defense they were under Rob Saleh that year, but they look great. And so everything hinges on how great can Jimmy G play. Now, listen, Jimmy G is going to. I know what Jimmy G is. I feel like most people know what Jimmy G is. And at times, some people, you know, hate hard. Like, because Jimmy G is one of the few quarterbacks that can have a good game. And people can still go out there and be like, okay, but he gonna suck in the playoffs. You know, like Jimmy G can't even have a good game because the media not gonna give a damn. They just gonna be like, yeah, and he gonna lose in the playoffs, like, or he gonna get outplayed in the playoffs. And listen, we get it. We know what Jimmy G is, but he also almost had this team on the brink of helping them win a Super Bowl. So while I don't like the criticism that Trey Lance done faced this year, I think he just in a weird spot because I think it was franchise malpractice also. I don't think the San Francisco 49ers are a bad franchise, but I don't think they should have went up and got Trey Lance. Point blank period. Just based off of what is happening right now, it just does not make sense to have went and got Trey Lance. It feels like, while I understand, just like the people who went out and got Trey Lance, that Jimmy G has a ceiling. I get that. He hurt a lot. We know he have a ceiling. I think it's a stat to say he's never outplayed another quarterback in the playoffs. Like in a playoff game, he has never had a higher QBR than the opposing team's quarterback. So that's wild. But when they went out and made that decision to go and get Trey Lance, I feel like that's the decision you have to make on a guy that you 100% know is going to take over the reins. Because then none of this Jimmy G controversy happened in the first place. But now you're in a situation where Jimmy G a free agent at the end of the season. Do you walk away from Jimmy G with the season that if this team gets far this year? God forbid they get to the Super Bowl, because they do look like the best team in the NFC possibly. I don't think they're the best team in the NFC, but I do think Kyle Shanahan can outcoach any coach in the NFC coaching ranks right now, because I actually think Dallas looks like a better team. I like Dallas defense more. I like Dallas's offense. I don't like their offense more, but I like the weapons they have on the offense just as much as I like the weapons they have on the offense over there in San Fran. The difference is the coordinators. But I actually like Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore's the combo of that head coach coordinator combination. I don't think they are as bad as people make it seem like they are. But they did lose that game to Aaron Rodgers, and I'm still not happy about that. But nonetheless, I do think Dallas is to me right now, I would probably take the San Francisco 49ers because I trust their coaching. But Dallas to me is a team that can really, because they don't defend the run good, they could go out there and get beat. But man, if Dallas play a perfect game, I think Dallas could be the best team in the NFC, to be completely honest with you. And maybe it's because I'm overhyping this defense that can't stop the run. But I don't know. By the end of it all, I could possibly, and one of the other reasons is, Dallas is 7-3, San Fran is 6-4. San Fran coming on, and they can legitimately make an argument. The only reason we had this record is because of how we started the season experimenting with our Trey Lance. Like, they could make that argument. So I'm not gonna lie. Now I done talked myself into thinking they were the best. The ultimate equalizer in all of this is Tom Brady, bro. Because it don't matter how good none of these fucking teams is. If Tom Brady on one, he winning. If Tom Brady is not on one, however, then I would probably take San Francisco over the field right now. But I got to do some more thinking. Because I knew what San Fran could be with Christian McCaffrey. Like, Christian McCaffrey is just if he can stay healthy, he one of the best weapons in football. He like what's my man's name? Austin Eckler on steroids, bro. Like, Christian McCaffrey is just an animal. And so if he can stay healthy, it's really no limits to where this offense can go. However, I do believe that an offense like Tampa Bay, if they could get going, combined with their defense, I would take Tampa Bay in a playoff game over San Francisco. Because I don't think, for one, Tom Brady would go into a game like that fearing or with a history of losing to Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Like, Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers got a lot of these NFC teams spooked. Aaron Rodgers can't beat them. The Rams can't beat them. Like, they got a lot of teams spooked. Ain't nobody got Thomas Edward Patrick Brady spooked, bro. Nobody spooking Tom Brady, bro. Nobody. No team spooking the GOAT. And so, understanding that, it's hard for me to believe that I was stuffing something real fast. But with that, that's why I have faith. Not hard to believe. I have confidence in Brady and him. But I do want to talk more about this game, because to me, we haven't even seen the 49ers at like full capacity yet. Like, I think they can be even better. Jimmy G have games like this. I feel like, see, this is the funny thing. If Jimmy G dominate like this, they probably didn't dominate the ground like they usually do. When they dominate the ground like they usually do, the run game, Jimmy G probably not having a big game. When they put those two things together, if they could do that the rest of the season, which I highly doubt they'll do that the rest of the season, because Jimmy G is up and down type of player. However, that's why you have confidence in Jimmy G at times. Is because while he is an erratic up and down player, the motherfucker do help them win games at times when he on. The key is to figure out how to get this motherfucker to play great in the playoffs. Because if they could get him to play great in the playoffs, then we might be headed to another matchup between them and the Chiefs. Because boy, do the fucking Chiefs look great. And you want to know what's so interesting about the Chiefs? The Chiefs don't even look to me like the best team in the NFC. I just know for a fact they have the best player in football on their team in Patrick Mahomes. He is ascended to best player in football. And I feel so bad for Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson to me is having a best player in football type of season. The numbers don't say it because what he is having to deal with. But it take a special type of player to have to, because they not doing to Lamar what they do to the other quarterbacks to win games. Like for not Josh Allen, for Zach Wilson and buddy over there with Daniel Jones. They saying, listen, all we need you to do is hand the ball off and don't make mistakes, and we can win games with our defense. That is not what they are asking Lamar Jackson to do. Every single year they are saying, put us on your back, Lamar, and we go as far as you take us. That is completely different than what they asking these other quarterbacks to do. They're asking Lamar Jackson to do what you asked Josh Allen to do, do what you asked Pat Mahomes to do, Brady to do. You might not ask Brady to do it all now, but that's what they were asking him to do. Peyton Manning and those type of guys. And so when you look at it, when you understand how to truly critique what Lamar is doing and understand what you seeing, you realize it's tough what he is doing. He don't have a consistent run game. They got these great numbers because of what he was doing in the beginning of the season. His running back's finally starting to show some life. He still got Gus Edwards and J.K. hurt for the second year in a row. He still got receivers, and Rashad Bateman was supposed to be the number one receiver. He been out for 2 years in a row. Mark Andrews in and out of the lineup. Multiple injuries everywhere. Ronnie Staley been out for 2 years. He finally coming back. Like, they finally had to go get a draft a center because the problems that they had with centers throwing the fucking ball over Lamar's head constantly. Like, to understand everything, and they won't spend on a skill position at the receiving position. They won't spend on a number one receiver. They look at all these other teams go out there and get their quarterbacks number one receivers and see how it helped their quarterbacks. But they will not do that for Lamar Jackson. And look at his win-loss record. Look at the fact that he take his team to the playoffs every year he start. But people criticize and critique him non-stop. It don't make any sense. So I feel bad for Lamar in that sense because people not going to give him the credit he deserves because the season he is having is absolutely wild to consider what he is having to work with. But Pat Mahomes is doing it too. And he is doing it at a bit of a higher level just because he do have the stats to but he also have, like, I don't care what nobody say. I love Mark Andrews. He ain't Travis Kelce, bro. It is not a tight end in football that is Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, much like Tony Gonzalez when he was playing, is a walking fucking Hall of Famer. He is competing with the Hall of Famers before him, not the people that's playing in the game right now. It's like I say about Steph Curry. Stop comparing point guards who is playing to him right now because that's a disservice to those guards, not to Steph Curry. Steph Curry ain't competing with Dame Lillard's, Russ Westbrooks, and all those guys. And to those dudes' credit, they are Hall of Famers. Steph Curry's competing with Magic Johnson, and before long, it ain't going to be competing with no Magic Johnson. It's going to be competing with the Kobe's, the Jordans, and whatnot. That's how great Steph Curry is. So, in my opinion, Travis Kelce is that great. He retired right now. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer without question. His touchdowns is up. I mean, he done matched his career total in touchdowns this season, I believe. Like, it is so beautiful to watch. And you see how they bitch about Lamar going to Mark Andrews? And he don't have anything outside of Mark Andrews. Shout out to Robinson, who been balling the last couple of weeks, bro. Like him and Lamar, I can see they they starting to develop a rapport together. But they bitch about how much he throw it to Andrews. Literally Kelce's game plan. I mean, Pat Mahomes' game plan. I'm going to read the field like Lamar. But if I realize, if I see Travis Kelce get a step, a half a step, if I in my mind think he is open, that is where the ball is going. Because why would it not? You have a Hall of Fame level tight end on your team who can get open against any coverage, win his matchup against any defender, and as clutch a tight end as I have probably ever seen in my lifetime. And you would dare bitch about him throwing it to him too much. I remember when they did that shit last year, when they was bitching about Pat Mahomes throwing it to Kelce and Tyreek too much. That's laughable. That's laughable. It's just as laughable as the people who thought Tyreek Hill was going to be trash this year just because he wasn't playing with Mahomes no more. I told you, two dudes can be legends at the same time. One don't have to be trash for the other one to be great. I understand how great, I told you, Pat Mahomes is like the greatest quarterback with my own two eyes I think I'd have never seen. But I watched those games. Tyreek Hill is a fucking stud. You haven't seen receiver. You know who Tyreek Hill kind of remind me of? Like a Steve Smith 2.0. And I don't mean no disrespect to Steve Smith Sr., one of my favorite receivers, a Hall of Famer. That motherfucker Tyreek Hill basically do everything Steve Smith do, except for even more. He faster, can get down the field better. I think he just as great a route runner. Like, Tyreek Hill don't get credit for being a complete receiver. Like, Tyreek Hill, I always get irritated when people call this man a slot receiver. I'm like, bro, that motherfucker was playing outside and in the slot with Kansas City. Like, what are we talking about right now? Like, that man ain't just no slot receiver. Like, bro, if you watch Tyreek Hill and think, oh, he ain't as tall as a Julio or Keenan Allen, so he got to be a slot, you don't know ball. You don't know ball. Because Tyreek Hill ain't no slot receiver. Tyreek Hill is a GOAT level receiver. He can do it all. Point blank period. I know great receivers when I see them, bro. That motherfucker Tyreek Hill is a walking Hall of Famer. I hope he continue to have an insane season. A little bit of an off game this game, but that's because Tua was spreading that thing around. Hey, shout out to Tua, bro. I'm happy for you, Tua. Motherfuckers was doing all this hate and shit. And look at him now. Now, I know what Tua is. At least I believe I know what Tua is, because I watch a lot of Tua. Plus, I watched him in college. Now, if I tell you I watched somebody in college, you just going to have to take me at it, because I hate college football. So if I'm willing to admit to you that I actually did watch somebody's entire college career, you're going to have to take that for, you're going to have to listen to me. I watched the entirety of Tua's career. I watched the unbelievable beginning to it in that national championship game, and I watched the injuries and whatnot. I watched him be a competitor in running for the Heisman. The same year Jalen Hurts went to another team. I think it was Ohio State and became a Heisman candidate. Like, I watched Deshaun Watson's entire college career. Bro, I watched A.J. McCarron's entire college career at Bama, bro. C.J. Mosley. Like, bro, I used to watch college football a lot, bro. I just don't watch that shit now because it's trash, bro. I saw a team the other day, or a game where I think it was like 170-something points combined. I'm like, yeah, this ain't ball, bro. This ain't ball. Same ball. But back to the 49ers. I know we was talking about other things, but I do want to continue to hop back and forth to the 49ers. If the 49ers can continue to stay healthy, get healthier, this is a scary team. Like, because it's not a lot of offenses. That's why I laugh at people who say that you can't run the ball to win championships. Even though I don't believe it's value in a single running back, there's value in having a system like a Kyle Shanahan has and knowing how to put players in position to succeed. When you do that, you don't need a superstar making all that money. But when you can get a Christian McCaffrey, it definitely does help because they are in a win mode, win now type of situation with the roster that they have. And like the only team that I truly can see, let's say everybody play their best football in the NFC playoffs. The only team that I can see beating them, legitimately, like I can go to sleep thinking, yeah, they can beat them. I would put money on it, even though I don't bet on games. If I would have put money on it, I would trust that my money is safe. It would only be with Tampa Bay. Because I still think, and I know a lot of people is hard on Tampa Bay right now. Maybe it's my biasness or my favoritism towards Tom. But I still truly believe Tampa Bay can get even better. I don't understand Tampa Bay not bringing Ndamukong Suh back when you consider how great Ndamukong Suh was in that Philadelphia game. You can make an argument without Ndamukong Suh, it would be hard for them to win that game with how great him and Linval Joseph were. I don't understand how either of them two dudes was sitting on free agency so long for teams who actually did need the interior help that they provide. I understand you have Vita Vea. It also helped you these last couple years to have Ndamukong Suh playing beside Vita Vea. So that was interesting to me. But if I still truly believe, and maybe it is my Tom biasness, that Tampa Bay can be the best offense in the NFC still. I truly believe when they get 100% healthy, they get on the same page, everybody not dealing with off-the-field issues and things. I truly believe this offense can still kick it to another gear. If they can find any semblance of a running game Watch the fuck out, because Tom Brady can still dink and dunk better than anybody who done ever played the game. He still got the greatest football mind in the game. He still can see and throw people open as good as any quarterback in the game. The rumors of the stories of Tom Brady's demise have been greatly exaggerated. Just watch the games. This team is just a team that look like they are not on the same page at all times. And that happens when you play as long into some seasons and you do have a constant flip over of the roster at times. And it's a multitude of things that can lead to these type of things. But this is a good team and they play in a shit division. So at the end of the day, they're going to win this division. But I still believe they can play better. I don't think they'll end up winning the division just by barely hanging on. I think they will establish some type of dominance towards the back end of the second half of the season. I have a lot of confidence in Tampa Bay. I'm willing to die on that hill. Just like I'm willing to die on the hill that the Baltimore Ravens will be fine. Like, the defense being as improved as it is a great help. Because before, if the defense was as bad as it was early, Lamar Jackson and them boys would have had to play superhero ball. Lamar would have had to be a superhero. He wouldn't have been able to just settle for 13 points. But when your defense give you a level of, they give you this comfort that, bro, you don't have to be great today. Just go out there and help us get this win, and we will do our part. That's important. That's playing a complete game. If Lamar have to go out there and be Superman every single fucking week because the defense can't do its part, that's a problem. When your defense can finally do their part and they can win games, and Lamar don't even have to put up a 27, 28 point game like he usually do, that say a lot. Now, my only concern is how far can these dudes go? Because I don't know how much higher Lamar can continue to elevate dudes who just not that great, in my opinion. He can't run the routes for these dudes. He can't catch the ball. Isaiah Likely, for as much as people like him, dropped a wide open catch. You can't explain why these dudes is dropping catches in crunch time of games or in close games. Why they can't beat their dudes in crunch situations. Every single thing you put it and you blame it on Lamar, but look at the film. These dudes are not winning their matchups consistently. They rarely win their matchups. The only receiver who has consistently, in some ways, won his matchup over the last couple weeks is Robinson. And I'm not surprised because he comes from KC, a system that helps receivers get open, in a system where you used to getting open, having to run different type of routes for Pat Mahomes. That's going to help Lamar greatly because now he got a receiver that understands a whole bunch of different type of receiving concepts and he can trust. Another thing with Robinson, it feels like he got the best hands as any receiver on the team right now. And that includes Bateman, because I was very critical of Bateman's hands to start the season. Look at a great example of a hands catching receiver. Look at Keenan Allen and DeAndre Hopkins. They catch the ball with their arms fully extended most times, and they catch it with their hands because they are true hands catching receivers. Baltimore does not have that. I think they might have it in DeMarcus, but he is not a number one receiver. I think he could be a great number 2, number 3, but he ain't no number 1. Lamar turning him into a number 1 because Lamar is with the philosophy, I'm just going to do what I got with my guys. It's no way you don't tell me that Lamar Jackson don't wish he had a Tyreek Hill, a Diggs, a Justin Jefferson. It's no way. But much like Pat Mahomes, they just going to figure this shit out and they're going to make a way. Period. Because at the end of the day, they say put it on my back and I'm going to take us there. And it's a great deal of, like my man Roquan Smith said, I have a great deal of respect for those two individuals. A great deal of respect. Okay? But I want to again shout out Patrick Queen for like the third video on having 2 solid weeks since getting Roquan Smith. I'm very critical of Patrick Queen, so I'm going to be hyper positive when he is clearly making improvements. So shout out to Patrick Queen. Looking at the NFC, since we was talking about the matter of fact, let's hop to something real fast. I want to talk about what's my man's name? What's this little kid? My fault. What's this dude's name? Zach Wilson. Do you bench Zach Wilson at this very moment? I don't think. It's tough, man, because this motherfucker, I think they said he had, 2 yards in the second half. That's a trope. How do you even manage to only come up with 2 offensive yards in the second half? I cannot even imagine all the negative plays that would have had to happen. Plus, you want to know what's wild? I understand why Zach Wilson said that he didn't feel like he let his defense down. Because I've seen Zach Wilson against the Patriots before. And I'm pretty sure he have too. And he probably said to himself, I didn't throw 3, 4, 5 picks like I usually do against the Patriots. So, nah, I didn't let them down. But, Zach, you did let your defense down. And you've been letting your defense down all season pretty much when you don't win games. And the fact of the matter is, when they could win games without you, and now they have a reason to not like you, that's not going to play too well for you, my guy. Now, I don't think Zach Wilson is a good quarterback at this point. I told you, last year I thought he had some talent, but I was like, man, he got a lot of turnovers in him. And then this year I say, I pretty much realized that I don't think Zach Wilson is a guy. And they pretty much confirmed it when they turned their offense into a run-heavy, do-not-make-a-mistake type of offense. And that's a shame that that's what the Jets seemingly have to do every time they have a great defense. I wish they could figure out the quarterback position, because I'm almost certain the Jets would be a fun team to watch if they could get a quarterback, because they have a phenomenal defense. Like, I'm not going to say it's a championship-level defense yet. But this is most definitely a defense that would give teams problems in the playoffs. I go into almost every game the Jets play now thinking that the quarterback on the opposing team is going to have a rough outing. It don't matter who it is. Like, unless it's Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, you're going to have a tough out. They could even get those two, because that is a great defense. I love the Jets defense. And it's so very clear that the offense is holding them back. You got receivers talking about, I don't got rapport with him because he don't throw me the ball. You got like, come on, man. I think the Jets, and this is a lesson to these scouting departments who continuously overrate these white quarterbacks that play at nowhere. They continue to do it. They struck gold with Carson Wentz for a year or two, and then you struck gold with Josh Allen after he got Stephon Diggs. And now it's like every time we're going to keep drafting white quarterbacks that have no type of resume in college and run with it. And that's wild to me. And listen, you could say I'm being racist, but it just is what it is. That's only happening. Lamar Jackson had a phenomenal college career and was drafted 31st in the fucking draft, in the back of the first round. Justin Fields was get passed over. Now, I don't think Ohio State quarterbacks personally are great going into the NFL. You show me a good Ohio State quarterback, and that'll make me into a liar. But I've never seen a good Ohio State quarterback in the NFL for as long as I've been watching the NFL. Like, I'm trying desperately to think of the Ohio State quarterback that was actually a competent quarterback in the NFL, and I'm struggling. So that's my thoughts on Ohio State quarterbacks. However, Zach Wilson, if you bench him, my answer to the question is yes. I don't think it matters if you bench him or not, because the defense done shown it can win with him. It can win without him. Personally, I would start Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco done played behind a great defense before. He would know what to do and what not to do, and throughout the duration of a game, he would understand how to play to his defense, much like Dak Prescott much like what the fuck was this dude's name? Cook, the backup for Dallas. Whatever Dallas's backup quarterback was. Joe Flacco would understand how to play to that. Not to mention, Joe Flacco as a starting quarterback in the playoffs is a god level quarterback. You get a chance to get that motherfucker back to the playoffs, you take that chance. With that defense, I'm telling you, if Joe Flacco had become the starter for the New York Jets, which I'm starting this now, I'm going to say it every show, make Joe Flacco, Elite Joe, the starting quarterback for the New York Jets, and the Jets will make the postseason. And when they do, I guarantee they will win a game, and I pray to God they don't have to play the Ravens, but they will win a game in the playoffs. And even if they play the Ravens, I'm picking the Jets to beat us. I'm not going to actually pick them to beat us, but in my mind, I'm like, yo, we're about to lose this game. Joe Flacco, make him the starter, New York. Rob Saleh, do it. You already know you got a quarterback issue. You already know Zach Wilson ain't your future. Once you realize that Zach Wilson ain't your future, now it's time to try to find out who is your future. It's try to find a way to get to your future. The problem with it is this year is you're too good. You can't leave Zach Wilson in there. You have to make a decision. Do I want to continue to let us lose games and have a chance of losing games, not being good enough on offense to lose games with Zach Wilson? Or do I want to try to make a shot at winning, getting to the playoffs? Do I want to try to replace this kid now, or do I want to get a shot at the playoffs and then replace him later? Start Joe Cool. Start Joe Flacco, and I promise you, y'all gonna get there. Not only will y'all get there, y'all gonna win a playoff game. That's me signing out. I appreciate you for joining me on another episode of Kicking with Saint. Shout out to the 49ers on a great Monday night dub. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.